was you. Talking about a world where all is free. It just couldn't be, and only a fool would say that. And only a fool would say that. And only a fool would say that. Think of all the duos in music history. Lennon-McCartney, the geniuses behind those brilliantly emotive Beatles songs. Rodgers and Hammerstein, the masters of musical theater. Gilbert and Sullivan for their outrageously topical operas. But for my money, the duo with the most creative moxie was that of Donald Fagen and Walter Becker. Together as Steely Dan, DF and WB gave us some of the most endearing and unique music out there. Over the years, they showered us with words and phrases that ranged from the slightly strange to downright fabrications. So break out the hats and hooters, grab a shell of Kirschwasser, because these are my top 10 Steely Dan lyrics. Number 10. The shine of your Japan, the sparkle of your China, Bodhisattva. This was one of the first Steely Dan songs I ever heard, and it certainly bops righteously. The tale is one that pokes a little fun at the casually shallow flirtation with Eastern religions that certain people exhibit. It's catchy, it's poignant, it's a pun, a complete lyric in my opinion.
Can you show me the shine of your Japan, the sparkle of your China? Can you show me Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva?
Number 9. Put $1 in the kitty. Time out of mind. The thing I relish the most about the lyrics of Steely Dan is when they use common, basic vocabulary that is simply arranged in a way that just startles me. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this song is not about the divine exhilaration of consuming some sort of opioid, but I can guarantee that I never spoke nor heard this phrase in my life before the song entered my life. Put $1 in the kitty.
Keep your eyes on the sky. Put $1 in the kitty. Don't the moon look pretty?
Number 8. Spectacular thigh, Pixeline. Sometimes you just see a thigh and say, wow, that's spectacular.
You whip a knife from the top of your go-go boot. Just a flash of spectacular thigh.
Number 7. El era del terzo mondo, Third World Man. In one of the band's more dour selections, we are presented a story of war and its global impact in the information age. Donald Fagen sings to us about a person who is emotionally overinvested in foreign conflicts. He closes the number with a declaration that we now live in the Third World era, and decides to sing this lyric in Italian instead of English. I don't know why it had to be Italian. Maybe it has something to do with Argentina. I'm sure one of you can tell me.
When he's crying out, I just sing that kind of rondo. El era del terzo mondo. He's the third world man.
Number 6. Would you like to take a yo-yo for a ride? Sign in stranger. Now, this song is tremendous. So many gems that I could have picked. There's apparently a guy named Pepe who has a scar from ear to ear. There are Turkish union dues that need collecting. The Café d'Escargot is apparently a hot destination. But if there's one thing I like to do, it's definitely taking a yo-yo for a ride. What does that mean? I don't know.
Do you like to take a yo-yo for a ride?
Number 5, The Custardome, Gaucho. The title track from my favorite Steely Dan album makes reference to a particular fictional location. To quote the composers, it's one of the largest buildings in the world. You know, an extravagant structure with a rotating restaurant on top. It exists only in our collective imagination. In the Steely Dan lexicon, it serves as an archetype of a building that houses great corporations. Catering to its clientele's variegated whims, a hint of disaster is subtly present. It's the little bighorn of architectural marvels. And, evidently, bodacious cowboys are strictly forbidden.
Bodacious cowboys, such as your friend, will never be welcome here. High in the custard dome.
Number 4. I have never met Napoleon, but I plan to find the time. Pretzel Logic. This is probably one of Steely Dan's most straightforward and uncomplicated tunes, about longing for a past era sunken down in the valley of time, to go back there and work as a musician in the employ of the most enthusiastic and appreciative crowds. And also about meeting the Emperor Napoleon, who, unfortunately for you and me, has been dead now for some 200 years. Bummer.
I have never met Napoleon, but I plan to find the time.
Number 3. Steely Dan, Showbiz Kids. Now, I would not be doing my job if I failed to address the veiny, rubber, milk-spurting elephant in the room. The pair had the good graces to lyricize their style in Showbiz Kids, an otherwise remarkable tune. The name, Steely Dan, is, in the words of Mr. Becker, on permanent loan from the Burroughs collection. It is the title of a marital aid featured in William Burroughs' beat classic, Naked Lunch. That this musical union would choose a dildo as its namesake is, to me, an impressively self-explanatory point when thinking about their artistic philosophy. It's vital to note, however, that it's not a real dildo, it's a fictional one. Right, Donald?
Yeah, it's not a real one, a fictional one. Anyway.
They got the shapely bodies. They got the Steely Dan t-shirts.
Number 2, Battle Apple, Josie. It is true that hand grenade comes from the French word for pomegranate, so this is not nearly the first fruit-based weapon system.
They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
But the phrase battle apple just tickles me inside in a way that's hard to describe. It's just a deadly and interesting pair of words. Mr. Fagen said, Walter and I both love inventing slang. For example, in Josie, there's a street gang using a weapon called the battle apple. It sounded better than any real weapon we could think of.
Shine up the battle apple. We'll shake 'em all down tonight. We gonna mix in the street.
Now, in every video like this, you would expect to see a list of honorable mentions before the number 1 pick. And I'm not better than anybody else, so here they are.
Chinese music always sets me free. Angular banjos sound good to me. Hollywood, I know your middle name. I'm building the Henry and Daria out of balsa wood. Have you ever seen a squawk's tears? Well, look at mine. In the morning you go gunning for the man who stole your water, and you'll find, like a Sunday in TJ, that it's cheap, but it's not free.
By far, my most beloved linguistic moment in the entire Steely Dan canon is in the final verse of Kid Charlemagne, one of their biggest hits. If I were a more articulate or intelligent primate, I might just have the ability to explain why I adore these words so much. Maybe it's their routine, mundane, conventional quality. Maybe it's just Donald Fagen's ultra melodramatic singing. I don't know. What I do know is that these words are special. Is there gas in the car? Yes, there's gas in the car. Thank you for watching.
Is there gas in the car? Yes, there's gas in the car.